But here, can you make sure nobody's sitting in front of the projector?
Okay. Your Abu is coming in line. A little shifting. All done.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are going to start our yearly event, our Jalsa, Musleh, the Prophecy, and we are going to start our program with a recitation of Holy Quran by Dr. Musleh.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to read a few verses from Surah Al-Hashr, in which the blessed names of Allah Ta'ala are mentioned. So I was just asked to read that, so this I have prepared already, so I'm going to read that surah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا خاشعا متصدعا لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. Translation. Who ye who believe, be mindful of your duty to Allah, and let every soul look to what it sends forth for tomorrow, and fear Allah. Verily, Allah is the well aware of what you do. And be not like those who forgot Allah, so He caused them to forget their own souls. It is they that are the transgressors. The inmates of the fire are not and the inmates of the gardens are not equal. It is the inmates of the garden that are the tranquil. If we had sent down this Quran on a mountain, thou wouldst certainly have seen it humbled and rent asunder for fear of Allah. And these are the similitudes that we set forth for mankind, that they may reflect. He is Allah, and there is no God beside Him, the knower of unseen and the seen. He is the gracious, the merciful. He is Allah, and there is no God beside Him, the sovereign, the holy one, the source of peace, the bestower of security, the protector, the mighty, the subduer, the exalted. Holy is Allah above that which they associate with Him. He is Allah, the creator, the maker, the fashioner. His are the most beautiful names. All that is in the heaven and the earth glorifies him. And he is the mighty, the wise. Sorry.
Now we're going to have a Thursday hadith by Sayyid Nasr himself.
Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. عن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ينزل عيسى ابن مريم إلى الأرض فيتزوج ويولد له. It is narrated by Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala anha that the Holy Prophet anhu, it is narrated by Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that when the Messiah will come, he will marry and he will have blessed progeny. Same thing in Urdu, it is Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu बयान करते हैं कि Hazrat sallallahu alayhi wasallam ने फरमाया मसीह इब्न मरियम जब नज़ूल फरमा होंगे तो शादी करेंगे तो उनकी बशारतों की हामिल औलाद होगी. अल्लाह मुबारक वसल्लम इन्नका हमीदुम मजीद.
Now we're going to have a poem by Hamza Abdullah Sahab.
कलाम हज़रत मुस्लिम रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु. दुश्मन को ज़ुल्म की बर्ची से तुम सीना दिल बरमाने दो. दुश्मन को ज़ुल्म की बर्ची से तुम सीना दिल बरमाने दो. ये दर्द रहेगा बन के दवा तुम सब्र करो वक्त आने दो. ये दर्द रहेगा बन के दवा तुम सब्र करो वक्त आने दो. ये इश्क वफा के खेत कभी, ये इश्क वफा के खेत कभी खून से जब गैर ना पनपेंगे. इस राह में जाके क्या परवाह जाती है अगर तो जाने दो. इस राह में जाके क्या परवाह जाती है अगर तो जाने दो. तुम देखोगे कि इन्हीं में से तुम देखोगे कि इन्हीं में से कतराते मोहब्बत तपकेंगे। बादल आफात व मसाइब के चाहते हैं अगर तो जाने दो। बादल आफात व मसाइब के चाहते हैं अगर तो जाने दो। जब सोना आग में पड़ता है, जब सोना आग में पड़ता है तो कुंदन बन के निकलता है। फिर गालियों से क्यों डरते हो दिल, जलते हैं जल जाने दो। फिर गालियों से क्यों डरते हो दिल, जलते हैं जल जाने दो। दुश्मन को जुल्म की बर्ची से तुम सीना दिल बरमाने दो। ये दर्द रहेगा बन के दवा, तुम सब्र करो वक्त आने दो। Translation. Let the enemy pierce your heart and chest with the dagger of cruel force. Let the enemy pierce your heart and chest with a dagger of cruel force. This pain will become an antidote. Be patient. Let the time come. These fields of love and loyalty will never thrive without being drenched in blood. What care of life in this cause if it is lost? Let it be. You will see droplets of love raining down from this very same overcast. If gray, destructive clouds are gathering in the sky, let them gather. Gold is burnished to its absolute purity when it is put through fire. Why then fear abuse? If hearts are burnt, let them be.
Jazakumullah khair. Now I request Ahmadiyya sahab to help them Jamaat on this blessed day.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. My dear brothers and sisters who are listening on the other side, President Saab and members of the Amla, I'd like to welcome everyone to our annual gathering to commemorate the Yaumi Musleh Maud. And we call this day the Day of the Promised Son. And we come together to celebrate him and his accomplishments and the impression that he left on the entire world, so that generations to come from now, they will still learn and benefit from his life. But this day is not just about Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmed, because he was, like all of us, the spiritual son, the spiritual progeny of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so all of this flows from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The promised Messiah, alayhi salam, he said the same, that all of the blessings come from Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he also reminded us, and Allah says in the Holy Quran, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was like Adam, alayhi salam, the first man. So the first man was taught everything from Allah, and everything started fresh. So if the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is like Adam, that means everything must have started fresh with him again. It's like Allah pushed reset on the universe with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And thus, he showed that his power is always there. And the promised Messiah, alayhi salam, he reminds us that Islam is a living faith. And the way you can tell that it's living is that it's always giving fresh and new signs. We don't have to always talk about just the past. We can talk about the present and the future when it comes down to the blessings of Islam and of the Holy Quran. Again, the Holy Quran is giving fresh signs every day. I was talking to an elder brother a couple of days ago, and he said to me, every time I read the Quran, I see something new. I get a new understanding. So that says to me that it's still giving fresh and new signs every day. We remember from Hazur's khutbah 2 days ago, and he quoted somebody during the lifetime of Hazrat Musleh Maud, and the person said, don't fight with him because he has the Holy Quran. What do you have? He said that you haven't even dreamed of reading the Quran compared to him. Now that's an amazing statement, because somebody was born Muslim, they practice Islam their whole life, and they consider themselves a scholar. He told the man, you haven't even dreamed of reading it compared to him. So that's to say about his deep wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the verses of the Quran. So my question is for all of us, do we read the Quran regularly? It's Hazrat Khalifa Masih, may Allah strengthen him. He's always encouraging us to read the Quran more and more and more, because it's the word of Allah and it is always giving to us. The word Quran, what does it mean? It means a book that is often read. Okay? And what was the first revelation of the Quran? Iqra, read. So the Quran is a book that is often read, and the first word to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ of revelation was read. So the question is, what is the Quran to us if we do not read it? And it's the special way of Allah the Almighty that He puts the subtle meaning of the thing inside the name itself. He named the book the Quran, and in the word, the meaning itself says to read it. Today, we see the people, many of us are wearing something green. Alhamdulillah, it's the tradition on this day to wear something green. Why? Why green? Why not red? Why not black? Why not purple? Well, you think about it, when the earth, when it dries up and gets rusty and dry, it turns brown. Then Allah says He sends down the water from heaven and it becomes green again. Fresh life is given to it. And fruits come out of that. So the Quran is, and Allah is giving that life refreshing rain every day. We see it today, beautiful rain today, on this day. So He's creating the greenness and the freshness of faith to continually to bud and to sprout all over the world. So this day is a day to celebrate all of that. By the grace of Allah, He's continually sending the rain. And this day of this Musleh Maud day we should understand that the fulfillment of this prophecy, just like any of the signs of Allah, they don't stop giving. So they're still giving to this very day, will give going from this day forward. So may Allah bless you. Listen to the speakers. Try to find something new that you may not have known about this blessed prophecy and about the signs of Allah, so that we can use them and we can bathe ourselves in that water and let that water bring about new growth in our faith. Jazakallah.
This second program is going to come after the speech with the word of the prophecy in Urdu and English. So I'll request the in charge to make the arrangement that they are all in proper order. Next speech is going to be by Usman Raja Sahab, and I put this speech specifically because some other member of the Jamaat asked us what is Nizam al-Jamaat. So we thought it appropriate that all the Jamaat members, young and old, men and women, they should have understanding how the Nizam al-Jamaat works and its establishment. Usman Raja Sahab.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. As you know, today is Musleh Maud Day, and we always hear about what prophecy Musleh Maud was, what he did, and I'll be just talking about one aspect, and that is his role in administration setup, the structure that he set up, which is called Nizam al-Jamaat, or in other words, it's called a structure of administration in Nizam al-Jamaat. So what is Nizam al-Jamaat? Nizam al-Jamaat is the administrative system or the organizational setup of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. It is the setup whereby the Khalifatul Masih conveys his message and commands to the body of believers, which you are, and by which they are implemented. It is the framework and organizational setup that supports and enables the spiritual journey of each and every member of the Jamaat. It includes not only those members entrusted with an office of the Jamaat, but also every single member of the Jamaat. So what's on the top of the pyramid? On the top of the pyramid is Khalifa, the Khalifatul Masih. So, Khalifatul Masih, Hazrat Masroor Ahmad, he is the supreme head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. He directs and guides all activities as well as associations and institutions of the Jamaat. Khilafat is the source of the community's unity, organization, progress, and its focus on the peace. The Promised Messiah and Khalifa Ahmadiyya have launched various schemes through divine inspirations with a common objective of propagation of Islam. So what comes under Khilafat? It's different branches of the structure that are Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya, Tehreek-e-Jadid, Waqf-e-Jadid, and Majlis-e-Shura. So organizational setup of the Jamaat. So the first is Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya. It was established by Promised Messiah on January 1, 1905, and then the various departments were set up by Khalifa Masih Sani to streamline the work. Then it is Waqf-e-Jadid. It was established in 1957 for Tabligh and Tarbiyat. Then it was Tehreek-e-Jadid, established in 1934. After that, it's foreign missions, amirs of countries, auxiliaries of Jamaat, institutions and various schemes, and Majlis and Mushawara. And now we'll talk about them separately. The first one is Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya. Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya heads various departments like finance, mall, education, preaching, public relations, census, reformation, judiciary. The Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya is Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya is headed by Nazir, which is called Nazir Allah, and he works under the direct direction of Khalifatul Masih. And some of the main Nazarats that come under Nazir are Nazarat-e-Uliya, he's in charge of under Nazir Allah. Nazarat-e-Diwan keeps records and arranges things for the employees. Nazarat-e-Amur takes care of affairs in Jamaat and keeps disciplines between members. Nazarat-e-Talim, it's related to Talim and education. Nazarat-e-Darweshan looks after Qadian and the Ahmadis there. Nazarat-e-Darul Ifta helps out of, and Nazarat-e-Ishad publishes Jamaat books and literature. Nazarat-e-Darul Ifta deals with the important problems with the help of Sharia law. Nizam-e-Jaidad, management and construction and supervision of that. Shoba-e-Rishta Nata guides, helps and keeps records of Ahmadi families in marriage affairs. And there are others too, but I will just talk about that. So these are the different branches of the Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya. The next thing we spoke about was Waqf-e-Jadid. So Waqf-e-Jadid was set up by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II on December 28, 1957 to expand missionary work to educate and impart religious training to rural population inside Pakistan. So in the beginning it was just for Pakistan, but Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Rabi Radiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu made it worldwide scheme in 1986. So some aspects about Waqf-e-Jadid, as it deals with the propagation of Islam. The work of this had been divided under two different Nazarats, which is Nizamat-e-Mal and Nizamat-e-Irshad. Under this scheme, a homeopathic hospital has been established in Rabwa, providing free medicine to the patients, and also Fazle Umar Hospital. Also, the Khilafat Library was established under this scheme. It has more than 100,000 books and is supervised under Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya. And if we go into the history of Waqf-e-Jadid, on Friday 9th July 1957 it was established. That was, and the first in charge was Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad. On Saturday 1st February 1958, 14 religious teachers were dispatched to selected rural areas of the country, and now by the grace of mercy of Allah, the number of Mu'allimeen is counted in thousands. So that was the beginning of Waqf-e-Jadid. Next is Tehreek-e-Jadid. Tehreek-e-Jadid was initiated on November 23, 1934 by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II to intensify the missionary work in foreign countries. So Waqf-e-Jadid was started just for the local Pakistan, and then it was moved all over the country. But this was started in 1934 by Khalifatul Masih to intensify missions of missionaries in the foreign countries. The reason for establishing Tehreek-e-Jadid is so that there is a sufficient money in the form of fund that the name of God Almighty can be easily spread and propagated to the end of the earth. So how it works is, there's a president of Tehreek-e-Jadid, then there's Wakil-e-Ala, and under Wakil-e-Ala there are different wakalats that had different matters of Tehreek-e-Jadid. So if we go into the history of Tehreek-e-Jadid, in 1934, Majlis-e-Ahrar, a Muslim sectarian movement, according to a well-laid conspiracy, sent some of its volunteers to create mischief by organizing conferences in Qadian. and with great uproar and drumbeat announced that they would destroy Qadian itself. The atmosphere in the rest of the country was also against Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya. Government was also backing these elements. It seemed all the forces had combined against Ahmadiyya as the nefarious intentions of the Majlis al-Ihrar unfolded. Allah, through His chosen servant, Khalifatul Masih Sani, initiated the great universal scheme of Tariq al-Jadid, which brought to naught the plans of opponents, and within a short period of time, Ihrar's influence started to decline, and they lost the confidence of the mainstream Muslims. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih himself explained its purpose nicely. All demands of Tariq al-Jadid have been introduced for the reason that you could become a manifestation of Allah's attributes. Under these demands of the scheme, the Ahmadiyya community was urged to lead a simple life, to make sacrifices in the cause of Islam, and to volunteer their lives for missionary work. So his words were, remember Tahriq al-Jadid is from Allah Ta'ala, and that it will prosper and all the obstacle in its way will be removed. And if provision for it is not found on earth, then the heaven will bless this scheme. Therefore, blessed are they who unreservedly participate in this scheme, because their names will live on the history with respect and honor. These people will have great honor in the court of Almighty Allah, because they went through great trials in order to fortify the faith, and Allah Himself will safeguard their descendants, and divine light will issue from their hearts and will eliminate the world. So this was Tahriq al-Jadid. And next is Majlis al-Mushawarat. So Majlis al-Mushawarat or Majlis al-Shura was set up by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Sani in 1922. Its purpose is to advise Khalifatul Masih in various important matters. It is held at the international level, presided by Khalifatul Masih, at the national level presided by Amir of the country, as well as auxiliary level presided by their respective national sadrs, for example, Ansar, Khuddam, and Lajna. The Majlis al-Shura is a most important meeting standing second in status to the institution of Khilafat. Those elected by the members of the community are obligated to attend it with due respect and diligence. They are being called to deliberate and give their advice to Khalifa of the time. So you can say that they are his consultants. And the next part is the auxiliaries of the Jamaat. So as you guys all know, they are divided into Ansar, Khuddam, and Lajna. It might sound weird, but Atfal are not a separate auxiliary. They come under Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya. So they are divided into nationally as Amir, then comes General Secretary, and then their departments. In Ansarullah, there is a Sadr, a Naib Sadr, and their Qaedeens. In Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya, it's Sadr, Motamid, and the Motamin under him. And in Lajna, it's Lajna-e-Maillah, Sadr, General Secretary, and Secretary. And at the local level, for Ansarullah, it's Zaim, and then Amumi, and then Motamin. And at Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya level, it's Qaed, and then Nazim, and then under him they are regular Khuddam. In Lajna-e-Maillah, the first one is at local level is the President, then Secretary, and then Lajna. So if we talk a little about the history of these, so the first auxiliary that was formed was Lajna-e-Maillah in 1922. In 1922, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad led the foundation of Lajna-e-Maillah. He wrote a letter to some prominent ladies in the community detailing therein the role which Ahmadi women should play to make Islam go ahead. He called upon them to disseminate his views among their sisters, win their sympathies for his plans, and to perform an association to help the resurgence of Islam. This led to the establishment of Lajna-e-Maillah, the meaning of which is maid servants of Allah. Lajna-e-Maillah is the largest auxiliary of the Jamaat, and it constitutes a big portion of the Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya. Secondly, Majlis Khuddamul Ahmadiyya. Majlis Khuddamul Ahmadiyya, literally meaning Association of Servants of the True Islam, and also known as the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth, was founded in 1938 by Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad, and is the youth section of Jamaat Ahmadiyya, and is led by the National Sadr. So organizational structure, it works as all others, that you have Qaid, and then you have Al-Mutamimeen under him. And in the same year, in 1938, Hazrat Khalifa Musleh Sani led the foundation of Atfal al-Ahmadiyya too. The Majlis Atfal al-Ahmadiyya's purpose is to prepare Ahmadi children in proper manner so that they may be molded in such a way that they are able to utilize their God-gifted abilities toward the progress of Jamaat. On April 15, 1938, in Masjid Aqsa Qadian, in his Friday sermon, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Sani gave the initial order to establish the new auxiliary in order to establish the new auxiliary organization. Accordingly, on April 23, 1938, the organization was opened under Resolution 17 in the Markaz of Khuddamul Ahmadiyya. On July 26, 1938, Hazur announced within 1 month, Majlis Khuddamul Ahmadiyya should establish an organization for youth between 7 and 15, and which was done later. And last but not the least, Majlis Ansarullah was formed by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II in 1940. Its members comprise all male Ahmadis Muslim over the age of 40. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Sani outlined goals for the auxiliaries in these words: we have to reform the whole world. We have to bring the entire world to bow before God Almighty, bring the entire world under the fold of Ahmadiyyat, establish the kingdom of God all over the world. But this grand task cannot be performed until all members of our community, children, youth, or elderly, organize themselves internally and follow this code of conduct day and night. For this internal improvement and completion of organization, I have established the auxiliary organization of Khuddamul Ahmadiyya, Ansarullah, and Atfal al-Ahmadiyya. Originally, the Ansarullah Majlis all over the world were under the supervision of Sadr Majlis Ansarullah, with its head office at the center, first in Qadian and then in Rabwa. The head of Ansarullah in each country was called Nazim-e-Ala or Nazim-e-Ala. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV announced in his Friday sermon delivered on November 3, 1989, that in future Khalifatul Masih would himself supervise all auxiliary organizations. He also mentioned that all over the world and at the national level, the head of the auxiliary organization would be designated as Sadr. So this was a brief explanation of the structure of Jamaat Ahmadiyya.
Jazakumullah wa sallam. Now we are going to go to the main part of our program today about the prophecy. About the prophecy of Musleh Maud. And for that purpose, we have children of Jamaat. They are going to recite the words of the prophecy. One group is going to recite in English, and one group is going to recite in Urdu and English. Now, Khalifa, who's going to handle that? Okay, go ahead. You want this mic too?
No.
Is there a mic on the side?
Assalamu alaikum. The girls that are presenting this, please tap on the mic to make sure we can hear you before you start. Okay, Jazakallah. Yes, please begin.
Stand away from the speaker.
Prophecy Hazrat Musleh Maud, published on February 20th, 1886, commonly known as the Green Advertisement. I confer upon you a sign of my mercy, according to what you have begged of me. So I have heard your entreaties and honored your prayers with my acceptance through my mercy, and have made your journey a source of blessings for you. Therefore, a sign of power, mercy, Nearness is bestowed upon you. A sign of grace and beneficence is awarded to you, and you are granted the key of success and victory.
Peace on you, O victorious one. Thus did God speak, so that those who desire life may be rescued from the grip of death, and those who are buried in the graves may come out of them. And so that the purity of Islam and the dignity of God's word may become manifest unto the people.
And so that may arrive with all its blessings, and falsehood may flee with all its ills, so that people may understand that I am the Lord of power. I do whatever I will. पेश गोई हज़रत मुस्लिम मौद रज़ी अल्लाह ताला अन्हा अशात खुदा 20 फरवरी 1886 जिसे सब्ज़ इश्तिहार के तौर पर जाना जाता है। मैं तुझे एक रहमत का निशान देता हूँ, इसी के मुवाफिक जो तूने मुझसे मांगा। तो मैंने तेरी तज़र्रात को सुना और तेरी दुआओं को अपनी रहमत से बपाया कबूलियत जगह दी, और तेरे सफ़र को जो होशियारपुर और लुधियाना का सफ़र है तेरे लिए मुबारक कर दिया। सो कुदरत और रहमत और कुर्बत का निशान तुझे दिया जाता है, फजल और एहसान का निशान तुझे अता होता है, और फतह और ज़फ़र की कलीद तुझे मिलती है। ए मुज़फ़्फ़र तुझ पर सलाम। खुदा ने ये कहा ता वो जो ज़िंदगी के ख्वाहां है मौत के पंजे से निजात पावें, और वो जो कब्रों में दबे पड़े हैं बाहर आवें, और ता दीन इस्लाम का शर्फ और कलाम अल्लाह का मर्तबा लोगों पर ज़ाहिर हो, और ता हक अपनी तमाम तर बरकतों के साथ आ जाए और बातिल अपनी तमाम नहुसतों के साथ भाग जाए, और ता लोग समझें कि मैं कादिर हूँ और जो चाहता हूँ करता हूँ।
And so that they may believe that I am with you, and so that those who do not believe in God and deny and reject His religion and His books and His holy messenger Muhammad, the chosen one, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may be confronted with a clear sign, and the way of guilty ones may become manifest.
Rejoice, therefore, that a handsome and beautiful will be bestowed on you. You will receive an unblemished youth who will be your seed and will be your forgiven.
और था वो यकीन लाएं कि मैं तेरे साथ हूँ, और था उन्हें जो खुदा के वजूद पर ईमान लाते और खुदा के दीन और उसकी किताब और उसके पाक रसूल मोहम्मद मुस्तफ़ा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को इनकार और तकज़ीब के निगाह से देखते हैं, एक खुली निशानी मिले और मुजरिमों का राह ज़ाहिर हो जाए। सो तुझे बिशारत हो कि एक वजी और पाक लड़का तुझे दिया जाएगा, एक ज़की गुलाम तुझे मिलेगा, वो लड़का तेरी ही तुखम से तेरी ही ज़ुरियत तो नस्ल होगा।
A handsome and pure boy is coming as your guest. His name is Ahmadiyya and also Musleh.
He has been blessed with the spirit of holiness, and he is free from all impurity. He is the light of Allah. Blessed is he who comes from heaven.
खूबसूरत पाक लड़का तुम्हारा मेहमान आता है, उसका नाम अम्बाईल और बशीर भी है। उसको मुकद्दस रूह दी गई है और वो रिज से पाक है, वो नूर अल्लाह है, मुबारक हो वो आसमान से आता है।
He will be accompanied by grace, Fuzzle, which shall arrive with him. He will be characterized with grandeur, greatness, and wealth.
He will come into the world and will heal many of their disorder through his messianic qualities and through this blessing of the spirit of holiness.
इसके साथ फजल है जो इसके आने के साथ आएगा, वो साहिब शिफा और अज़मत और दौलत होगा। वो दुनिया में आएगा और अपने मसीही नफ्स और रूहुल हक की बरकत से बहुतों को बीमारियों से साफ करेगा।
He is the word of Allah, for Allah's mercy and honor
have 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 equipped him with the word of God, with the word of majesty.
He would be extremely intelligent and perceptive. He will be meek of heart and be filled with secular and spiritual knowledge. He will convert 3 into 4. It is a Monday, a blessed Monday.
वो कलमातुल्लाह है क्योंकि खुदा की रहमत ने गयूरी उसे कलमा तमजीद से भेजा है। वो सख्त ज़हीन व फ़हीम होगा और दिल का हलीम और अनुम ज़ाहिरी और बातनी से पुर किया जाएगा और वो 3 को 4 करने वाला होगा। दोशंबा है मुबारक दोशंबा।
Translation from the Persian part of the prophecy. Son, delight of heart, high-ranking noble, a manifestation of the first and the last, a manifestation of the true and the high, as if Allah has descended from heaven.
His advent will be greatly blessed and will be a source of manifestation of divine majesty.
फर्जंदे दिल बंदे गिरामी अर्जुमंद मजहर अव्वली वल आखिरी मजहर हकी वल अलाई का अन्नल्लाह नाज़ला मिन समाई, जिसका नज़ूल बहुत मुबारक और जलाली इलाही के ज़हूर का मौजब होगा।
माशाल्लाह।
Behold, a light comes anointed by God with the perfume of His pleasure. We shall pour our spirit into Him, and He shall be sheltered under the shadow of God.
नूर आता है नूर, जिसको खुदा ने अपनी रज़ामंदी के इत्र से ममसूक किया। हम इसमें अपनी रूह डालेंगे और खुदा का साया इसके सर पर होगा।
He will grow rapidly in stature and will be the means of procuring the release of those held in bondage. His fame will be spread to the ends of the earth, and peoples will be blessed through him. He will then be raised to the spiritual station in heaven. This is a matter decreed.
वो जग जग भरेगा और असीरों की रुस्कारी का मुजब होगा और ज़मीन के किनारों तक शोहरत पाएगा और कौमें इससे बरकत पाएंगी। तब अपने नफ्सी नुक्ते आसमान की तरफ उठाया जाएगा। वकाना अमरम मक़दिया।
Okay, those are the words of the prophet.
माशाल्लाह।
Those were the words of the prophecy by about the Muslim Maud. The next thing is going to be Nazm by people to see Ahmad, and right after that we'll go to the facts about Hazrat Muslim Maud by the group of children, boys and girls. First, poem by Tawseef Ahmad.
माशाल्लाह।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम व रहमतुल्लाह।
मैं अपने प्यारों की निस्बत हरगिज़ न करूँगा पसंद कभी। वो छोटे दर्जा पे राज़ी हों और इनकी निगाह रहे नीचे। वो छोटी छोटी बातों पर शेरों की तरह गुर्राते हों। अदना सा कुसूर अगर देखें तो मुँह में कफ भर लाते हों। वो छोटी छोटी चीज़ों पर उम्मीद लगाए बैठे हों। वो अदना ख्वाहिश को मकसूद बनाए बैठे हों।
गीदड़ की तरह वो ताक में हो, शेरों के शिकार पे जाने की, और बैठे ख्वाबें देखते हो वो इनका झूठ खाने की। ऐ मेरी उल्फत के तालिब, ये मेरे दिल का नक्शा है, अब अपने नफ्स को देख ले तू, वो इन बातों में कैसा है। Translation. I will never like for my loved ones that they have and be satisfied with low standards, and they roar like lions over pretty matters. They get mad at minor faults or mistakes of others. Their hopes and desires are low, and they consider their lesser desire as their ultimate goal. They eagerly wait for lions to go hunting and dreaming to eat from their leftovers. Oh, my friend, who wants to be the one I love? These are the qualities I want to see in you. Now take a look at yourself where you stand.
Now we're going to go over the facts about Hazrat Musleh Maud by the group of children, boys and girls.
Stand on this. Are you ready? No, stand. You're going to stand.
You can do it. You can do it. Alaikum salam. Rahmatullah.
Okay, and what fact would you like to share with us today? Nice and loud.
Hazrat Musleh Maud's name is Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmood Ahmad Razi Allah
Shabash. Say Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Khalifa Ahmad.
And what fact would you like to share with us today?
He was born on January 12th, 1889.
Shabash. Dania, please. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Dania
Shabash. And what fact would you like to share with us?
about a fact about
His father's name?
his father's name was Hazrat Muhammad Mirza Ghulam Ahmad alayhi salam.
Shabash, good job. Yusuf,
Shabash.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
What is your name? आपका नाम क्या?
Yusuf.
Shabash. And आप क्या हमें सुनाएंगे? What are you going to share with us?
His mother's name?
His mother's name was Hazrat Nusrat Jahan Begum. May Allah be pleased with her.
We'll come back to the. I want to go to the next item. हाँ जी. So next वो boys की दो तकारीर हैं. Two speeches by boys. It was on the other table. Is it here? Would you like to call them up, or do you want me to ask them to come up one by one?
I know mine.
Usman Abdullah is first. Assalamu alaikum, Usman Abdullah. Yes, please come.
My speech is about Hazrat Musleh Maud, brother on whose childhood interests. The image of a Khalifa is a level-headed and pious leader of the Muslim community. To achieve this almost unachievable status, someone may think that this will result in a studious, unenjoyable childhood. but this view perpetuated by other Muslims is definitely incorrect. Hazrat Musleh Maud enjoyed many activities in his childhood. These activities were not all religious, but they did show his piousness and strong future. Hazrat Musleh Maud prominently enjoyed hunting and horse riding. A story involving hunting and mischievousness would be expected to end in the usual fashion, such as reprimand from a Shirk senior. This specific instance has a twist, however. When a young Hazur entered with two young Sikhs into a habitat of prey, Hazur took aim and fired upon a dove on a branch. A local went towards Hazur and a small group and told him to end the killing with fauna in their village. The village children were told to be ashamed of themselves, bringing a child from the neighboring one and allowing him to kill the wildlife. This may sound like a normal story of children at that time. However, what happened after was a marking of Hazrat Mirza Bashir Mahmud's and Ahmad's future Khalifa. A story such as that would be etched in the daunting insignia of fear, but not for Hazur. His reflection of that was of an accomplished adult rather than a child. His reaction was not a frightened one, yet a ponderous one. His first main inclination was the moral of the adult. He thought about the prejudice of the old woman trying to comprehend the right and wrong of the woman's actions. This is a great example of Hazrat Musleh Maud formation through a Khalifa. Another story involved a gift from the Prophet Messiah, a horse. Prophet Islam passed away. Hazrat Musleh Maud decided to sell the horse as it would burden his mother and the cost to keep the horse. A friend of his told him not to sell it because it was a gift from Prophet Islam. But he knew the Prophet Islam would not want him to burden anyone. Therefore he sold it. This story shows how responsible Hazrat Musleh Maud is. From these stories, anyone is clearly able to tell that young Hazur is different from the average child, yet shares the same interests that he would have something in the future.
Seek refuge in Allah from Satan, the evil. In the name of Allah, most gracious and merciful. Today I am talking about the early education of Hazrat Musleh Maud, the promised reformer. Hazrat Mirza Bashir Mahmud, may Allah be pleased with him, was born on January 12, 1889. Hazrat Musleh Maud was the eldest son of the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, and Hazrat Nusrat Jahan Begum, Saiba. May Allah be pleased with her. Hazrat Musleh Maud was very dear to his parents, and his parents took his upbringing and discipline very seriously. In 1895, Hazrat Musleh Maud started the Holy Quran, and in 1897 he had his Ameen ceremony. Hazrat Musleh Maud, may Allah be pleased with them, started his early education at District Board Primary School. Then in 1898, Hazrat Musleh Maud got transferred to Talim al-Islam School. Hazrat Musleh Maud was taught by Hazrat Sayyid Muhammad Sarwar Shah, may Allah be pleased with him. His teacher took Hazrat Musleh Maud seriously and asked him questions like, do you like your father, the promised Messiah? Peace be upon him. Hazrat Musleh Maud, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I had many dreams, but one dream that stood out was that he was commanding a large army. The teacher understood the meaning that one day Hazrat Musleh Maud, may Allah be pleased with him, lead a Jamaat started by his father. Hazrat Musleh Maud, may Allah be pleased with him, was very close to the Jamaat. He was always the first volunteer in religious services. Hazrat Musleh Maud, may Allah be pleased with him, was very young when his father, the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, passed away after a short illness. The first Khalifa, Hazrat Haji Hakim Maulana Nuruddin, may Allah be pleased with him, personally taught Hazrat Musleh Maud the Holy Quran, these, and also helped Hazrat Musleh Maud, may Allah be pleased with him, to write various articles. Hazrat Musleh Maud is truly a promised reformer both in spirit and deeds. May Allah bless him eternally. Ameen.
There's two girls. Next two presentations will be first by Subbu and then another one by Kanwal.
Assalamu alaikum. I would like to tell you all about the firm belief and love the second Khalifa had for the promised Messiah and Islam. Hazrat Musleh Maud anhu believed in his father and believed him to be an extremely good and pious man from his very early years. This belief also served to intensify his love for his father. The following incident shed some light on the strength of love the second Khalifa felt for his father, the promised Messiah al-Islam. Once, the second Khalifa was a young boy. They were all lying outside in the yard as people do in the summer months of the South Asian countries, when dark clouds began to gather. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck so loud and hard that everyone thought that his or her house had been hit. The promised Messiah al-Islam and his companions started walking inside, with Hazrat Musleh Maud anhu holding his hands over the head of the promised Messiah al-Islam, with the intention that if the lightning were to strike again, it would hit him instead of his father. Hazrat Musleh Maud later remembered this incident with fondness and incredulity, that he thought that he was saving the promised Messiah al-Islam, whereas the promised Messiah al-Islam was the key to salvation for the entire world. And who can forget the declaration the second Khalifa made at the time of the death of the promised Messiah al-Islam? The blessed body of the promised Messiah al-Islam laid upon the charpoy with the companions surrounding him in various stages of grief and despair, when a 19-year-old Hazrat Musleh Maud said, "My Lord, believing you to be omnipresent and omniscient, I make a solemn pledge that even if the entire Jamaat were to forsake Ahmadiyya, I will convey the message you have revealed to the promised Messiah al-Islam to each and every corner of the world." His belief in the promised Messiah al-Islam was so strong that, by God, Hazrat Musleh Maud was able to fulfill the promise in 51 years of his Khilafat. Jazakallah.
MashaAllah.
Jazakallah. After Kanwal is going to be a group nazam.
Assalamu alaikum. The topic of my speech today.
Please stand a little distance from the speaker.
Close to mic.
Mic से इतना फासला होना चाहिए.
Assalamu alaikum. The topic of the speech today is Hazrat Musleh Maud, mobilization of the Jamaat for sacrifices. Hazrat Musleh Maud planned, reorganized the financial structure for the Jamaat by various schemes and appeals for donation and contribution. On the 12th April 1914, he appealed for the financial donation for Anjuman in order to send his missionaries to all the cities and towns of India for preaching of Islam. The scheme for the completion of the mineral Messiah on November 1914, Hazrat Khalifa Messiah, be the blessings upon him, called the Jamaat for financial contribution for the completion of Minaretul Messiah. As a result, the minaret was completed in 28th December 1916. He called to the women mobilize funds for preaching. In December 1916, he appealed to the ladies of the movement for donations, stating that only men were bearing expense to 8,000 to 10,000 a month, from which various requirements were met. But since the coordination from foreign countries were rising, Allah gracefully enabled the ladies of the Jamaat to respond to Hazur's call.
On February 7, 1920, he called upon the Jamaat to contribute toward the building of a mosque, and the Ahmadiyyat responded willingly after this call. Hazur wrote a book, Prince of Wales, which conveyed the Islamic teachings. Hazur, along with the Guardian, went to England to participate in Wembley Conference. All the expanses thereby through Turkey its scheme, the Ahmadiyya Muslim missions were established. The Holy Quran, and he will raise him among others of them who have not yet joined them. He is the mighty of the was when asked about this verse, the blessings of Allah upon him, placed his hands on the Farsi shoulder, and sakli in the faith were up to the pledges. A man or men from would surely bring it back. The Holy Prophet was foretold that the Prophet Messiah will have children. On Saturday, January 12, in 1889, Hazrat Khalifa Messiah was born. The prophecy described. In 1889, Prophet Messiah was announcing the birth of promise and also sets up 10 conditions of extreme love for the Holy Quran was evident from his books and numerous speeches. He told his children that the Holy Quran is like an ocean of He visited numerous countries for the formal training. The first mission was established in Honduras. More than 30 mosques were constructed worldwide, including Fazl Mosque. 19th October 1924 was founded on the first visit to London. He found Lajna Amal in 1922. In 1938, he formed Khadam al-Ahmadiyya, Nasran al-Ahmadiyya, and Atafal al-Ahmadiyya. Answer was formed for men over 40 years of age. On 10th March 1954, Hazur, may Allah be pleased with him, he was attacked behind with a dagger and stabbed twice on his neck and stomach. He was seriously injured after this incident. He became seriously ill. The attacker was caught and imprisoned after the community decided with the constitution of Hazur that he should be taken to Europe for further medical treatment. His health progressively went downhill. Despite all the care and expert medical treatment he received, Hazrat Khalifa Messiah, at the age of 77 years of age, he passed away on 8th November 1965 at 2:20 a.m. in Rafi. Inna Allahi wa inna alayhi raji'un. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. While the group Nazam girls are setting up, I just wanted to let all the parents know, I'm getting messages from parents right now. There are 30 students that will be taking part today, so don't worry if your child hasn't been called up yet. Inshallah, they will get a turn. Girls, are you ready for the Nazam? If Fazle Umar Tere Osaf Karimana.
We are presenting a poem about the qualities of Hazrat Musleh Maud, written by Mubarak Ahmed Abid. O Fazle Umar, your ways of kindness with my limited understanding cannot comprehend. People like you are not born often, nor in days, nor in ages. There is no orator of your caliber, and not of style present in the world. You confronted people suffering in pain, never minding if they were known or if they were strangers. You were gifted by Allah Almighty with a strong belief in Him. You had intelligent, beautiful eyes and majestic ways. You were thorough in knowledge and practice, and a lover of the Holy Quran and Almighty Allah. Light of knowledge was lighted by you. You upheld the spirit of sacrifice in the way of Allah.
I see two Khadam standing next to the door. Please keep this door open because it is over 80 degrees now, so please leave it open. The next speech is about Musleh Maud as the ideal image by Zubair Badullah.
अपना बात सुनो यहाँ से डाउन करो टेम्परेचर
أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Today my speech is a series of stories. I will narrate small events from the early stages of our beloved Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad, to the end of his fruitful life. Every one of them show what an ideal man he was. I pray that you will listen closely and remember them well, while increasing your love for him in your own hearts. The first incident I would like to share is that of his Kamil Yaqeen, without any doubt in the promised Messiah.
Hazur states that once I was about 9 or 10 years of age. I was playing at home with my fellow student, and there was a book lying in the cupboard, wrapped in a green cloth, similar to the way that the Holy Quran is sometimes wrapped. He says that it was of the time of my paternal grandfather. When I read this book, it stated that angel Jibreel no longer descends to man. I said that this was wrong because it descends to my father, the promised Messiah. The boy said that it does not descend as it is written in the book. We had a long argument, but in the end we went to the promised Messiah and stated our cases. He said that the book is incorrect. The book is incorrect because Jibreel still descends to me. At such a young age, his innocence was free from any artificiality. His love and acceptance of the promised Messiah could never be faltered. Hazur tells another story from his childhood. He says, "From the archive of foolish incidents, I remember my silly incident. Many times I've laughed upon recalling this incident, and sometimes my eyes have also been filled with tears. That incident took place one night in the time of the promised Messiah, when we were all sleeping in the courtyard. It was summertime, and rain clouds suddenly appeared in the night sky, accompanied with a roaring thunder. During this time, lightning fell somewhere close to Qadian. However, its blast was so loud that every household in Qadian believed that it was their house that was struck by the lightning. Because of the blast and rainstorms, everybody went to their rooms. When the lightning struck, those of us sleeping in the courtyard also got up and went inside. When the promised Messiah was going inside, I covered his head with both of my hands so that if lightning struck, it would strike me instead of him. Later, when I returned to my senses, I laughed at my actions. It was because of the presence of the promised Messiah that we were protected from the lightning, not that he could be protected from us. I think that this action of mine was no less than that of a divana, of a madman. Sometimes a person is unaware of how much he loves someone. When this type of incident occurs, he can estimate how deep and profound his love is. My fellow brothers and sisters, what love he showed of the promised Messiah. He was willing, even at such a young age, to sacrifice his own life for his father's, a vow that we make, but never fully attempt to fulfill. With his love of the promised Messiah also came the love of Allah. The love he had for Allah Almighty was so strong and so beautiful that people who were around him, they knew that they were in the presence of a man of God. Again, I will narrate a story from his youth. Hazrat Sayyid Sawar Shah Sahib was an outstanding companion of the promised Messiah and a brilliant scholar, whose reputation for knowledge and excellence has spread far and wide. He states that Khalifa Masih II was taught by me, and one day I asked him, "Mia Sahib, your father receives revelation in abundance. Do you ever receive a revelation or dreams?" Mia Sahib replied, "Maulvi Sahib, I have many dreams, but there is one that I see nearly every day. From the moment that my head touches the pillow to the moment I wake up in the morning. The dream is that I'm standing there leading an army, and sometimes I see us crossing oceans to fight an adversary. And many times it has happened that I have nothing to make a crossing with, and out of reeds I make a boat, and with it the crossing to attack the enemy." When I heard this dream from him, the thing imprinted in my heart was that this is a man who would lead Jamaat Ahmadiyya in the future. This was a man that would lead Jamaat Ahmadiyya in the future. From then on, I stopped teaching him in the classroom, and I would sit in his chair while I sat him in my chair and taught him. Upon hearing the dream, I also requested that Mia Sahib, please do not forget me when you are older and keep me in your loving sight. Allah showed him incredible virtues of bravery and leadership that he would possess in the responsibility that he would bestow years later. He accepted and proclaimed his fate on the day of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's demise near his deathbed. We know the promise he made, but do we know the feeling before his vow? He speaks on his father's passing away. He states, "Men on 3 sides of the bed surrounded. Men on 3 sides surrounded the bed. I made some room and stood at the head of the bed. I saw that the Promised Messiah ﷺ was opening his eyes. He looked around for a bit and then closed them. Again, he opened his eyes and his pupils moved around and then he closed them in fatigue. He repeated this many times. In the end, he mustered his strength one last time, because one does not have the strength. One does not have the strength to open his eyes. But he glanced around the room. He looked towards the head of the bed, looking around when his gaze fell upon me. It felt as if he were trying to find me. He felt relieved after seeing me. Thereafter, he closed his eyes and took his last breath and passed away. At that moment, I felt that his gaze was only trying to find me, and I imagined that this was a result of the prayers, to look into his eyes for one last time. Straight after his death, people were apprehensive of the future. They thought that such a great leader has died, what will become of the community? I observed that some people were even depressed, that what will become of the community? Even though I was only 19 years old at the time, I remember standing at the side of the bed, which lay the sacred corpse of the Prophet ﷺ, stating, my Lord, believing you to be omnipresent and omniscient, I make a solemn pledge that even if the entire Jamaat were to forsake Ahmadiyya, I will convey the message that you have revealed through the Promised Messiah to each and every corner of the world. One passes through many stages in one's life. There are phases of laziness, activity, phases of knowledge, phases of ignorance and obedience to God. But that day, I felt in a phase of such alertness and deep knowledge of God that every atom of my body was subject to that high resolve. I was convinced that the power and strength of the whole world held no significance against my resolve and determination. If the world could hear my resolve, they would certainly consider it of a boasting madman. However, I believed that this pledge was my greatest responsibility, and upon making this pledge, I was convinced that this did not lie outside of my power, rather within my God-given capabilities. Hazur's eyes looked for him. As Hazrat Sahibzada says, he prayed to look into the eyes one last time. What simple and tremendous devotion and love that Hazrat Musleh Maud had for his father. He knew that he sounded like a madman, but that he knew that his dream as a child would come true. When the first Khalifa, Hazrat Maulana Hakim Nuruddin Sahib's name was to be nominated for the election of the first Khalifa, Anjuman had a unanimous vote. The family of the Promised Messiah and elders of the Jamaat were naturally inclined to him. However, Maulvi Muhammad Ihsan Sahib suggested that it was essential to consult Hazrat Musleh Maud. Hazrat Musleh Maud agreed to the nomination without any reservation, saying that there is none superior than Hazrat Maulana Hakim Nuruddin, and it is essential to have a Khalifa. After his election, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad obeyed every one of the Khalifa's desires, and even Hazrat Hakim Nuruddin was surprised of his obedience. They had such profound love and obedience to each other. A devoted follower of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, Hazrat Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, relates that once they were traveling on a train, this is before he was elected as the first Khalifa. The train stopped at a station in Sahibzada. Mirza Mahmud Ahmad got off and had a little walk. The Promised Messiah was not a member of this party. When he came back into the compartment, before someone had vacated a seat for him, it was Hazrat Maulana Nuruddin who had vacated his own seat for Hazrat Musleh Maud. And Hazrat Maulana Hakim Nuruddin sat on the floor. One can imagine the true regard and respect that he had for Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad. Another companion of the Promised Messiah, Mr. Shauq Muhammad Sahib of Lahore, states that in 1903, while he was in Qadian for his studies, he knew that Hazrat Musleh Maud used to have eye sores, and that Maulvi Nuruddin Sahib would put eye lotion himself on the eyes of Hazrat Musleh Maud. And he would lovingly kiss his forehead and addressed him saying, Miya Sahib, truly you are the great Miya. O my Lord, make him the Imam of the whole world. Miya Shaukh Muhammad says that one day I asked Maulvi Sahib, you only pray for Miya Sahib for such a great status and position. Why not for others? To this he replied, I have no doubt that he is going to be the Imam. But I merely pray for spiritual reward. His prayers were answered and Fazl Umar became the second Khalifa of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Before his 52 years of devotion, he proved himself to be a warrior of Allah. We hear today in this room the endless lists of things that he did for the Jamaat. You all sit here listening to me in the auxiliary that Hazrat Musleh Maud created. We remember the creation of Rabwa and Hazur's incredible influence in the creation of Pakistan. All the schemes that run, Tahrik-e-Jadid, Waqf-e-Jadid, Wasiyat, the commentary of the Holy Quran, Tafsir-e-Kabir, and the strives he made for education of both men and women. The Ta'lim al-Islam schools, Al-Fazl magazine, Fazl Umar Research Institute and Hostel, the list goes on. My dear brothers and sisters, in that dream that he had in his youth of leading an army across the oceans, we are the soldiers of this magnificent leader. And I pray that as these soldiers, these virtues and complete submission, love of Khilafat, taqwa, and devotion to Jamaat Ahmadiyya be instilled in us all. May Allah guide us and help us to follow in His footsteps.
Ameen. Now we have the last children program.
Okay, we're going to continue with the facts about Hazrat Musleh Maud. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Aapka naam kya hai? What's your name?
Aisha.
Shabash. And what fact are you going to share with us?
You are the second president.
Shabash. Shabash. Gotcha. Next, Uzair. Assalamu alaikum. Loud.
Assalamu alaikum.
And what's your name?
Azar.
Shabash. And what fact are you going to share with us? He created
at the file Ahmadiyya principles. 7 to 15.
Good job. Shabash. Jazakallah. आ जाएं सब खड़ी हो जाएं आप. Turn around. Hi. अस्सलाम वालेकुम. वालेकुम अस्सलाम. अपना नाम बताएं. My name is
Sabah.
Shabash. And what fact are you going to share with us?
I will say that Hazrat Musleh Maud created Siratul Ahmadiyya for those 7 to 15 years old.
Shabash. Jazakallah. Okay. So next we have 2 speeches. First one is by Razi and the second one is by Yusuf. Yes, Razi. फौजान अब आप इधर बैठे आयशा आप इधर आ जाए
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today I'll be talking about Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Sahib, specifically his early childhood and the relationship between him and his parents. I found most of the information about him in the book Fazl Umar. The way parents react to their actions of a child can change their entire future. I'll talk about a few notable stories. The first story was about when Hazrat Musleh Maud could not sleep and was crying. Since he was crying, the Promised Messiah was trying to comfort him. After that did not work, he tried to distract him with a star that was shining. Hazrat Musleh Maud was distracted for a few minutes, but started crying again, saying he wanted to go to the star. I feel as though some parents would get frustrated, but the Promised Messiah never did. He was even amused and understood that Hazrat Musleh Maud was tired and would eventually calm down on his own. The Promised Messiah was very calm and never became angry. This example really shows how patient and trusting the Promised Messiah was and understood a child how to be treated. The second story I'll be mentioning is a time where the Promised Messiah was sitting outside with almonds and Hazrat Musleh Maud wanted some. Hazrat Musleh Maud was only about 4 or 5 years of age at the time,
And he took all the almonds in the bowl and put them in his lap. Instead of getting upset, the promised Messiah spoke to him with trust, saying he would put them back. Hazrat Musleh Maud did as the promised Messiah said and dropped the almonds back into the bowl, only taking a couple for himself. This was a perfect example of how Hazrat Musleh Maud knew right from wrong and how taking all the almonds would be selfish. I believe that these few stories really show the relationship between Hazrat Musleh Maud and the promised Messiah. Their relationship is a perfect example of what a relationship between a parent and a child should be. Trust, respect, and patience are very important. I hope everyone gets a chance to hear more of these stories and learn from them. Jazakallah.
Okay, next, Yusuf. Come on.
Assalamualaikum. This speech here will dive in a little further into the very functions and purpose into the auxiliary organizations we made. It was when there was a steady period of growth from our beloved Hazrat Musleh Maud that had him eventually establish what will serve to this day and age as 5 active auxiliary organizations. Hazrat Khalifa Masih II, from the point of view of moral training of the members Jamaat, divided the ladies, men, and children into various auxiliaries. These organizations are basically responsible for educational and moral training of their members to try stimulating the religious, spiritual, and mental capacities of their members. It is compulsory for every member of the Jamaat to become a member of the auxiliary to which one belongs. As you heard, the first 2 to have been formed were of women over 15 years of age into Lajna in Manila in 1922, and girls ranging from ages 17 to 15 to Nazratul Ahmadiyya in 1928. The progress made by Ahmadi women during the leadership of Hazrat Khalifa Masih II is very dramatic. During the last days of Huzur's life, a survey was done of the ladies in Rabwa and found that 100% of the women were literate. The other 3 of the 5 were all men and boys ranging from ages 17 to 15 at Ahmadiyya in 1938, ages 15 to 40 Qudamul Ahmadiyya that same year, and over 40 Ansarullah Ahmadiyya in 1940. To the Qudam, he gave a clear motto: reformations of nations cannot be done without the training of their youth. Likewise, his reason for implementing these auxiliaries was of deeply felt intentions. This was 1941, when he mentioned that as similar age groups have all been gathered together because of this scheme, they can watch over each other and they can also get work experience. The other, more solemn purpose in response to an ever-growing community presence was Hazrat Musleh Maud's hope towards their maintenance of activity, staying in line with the necessary training spiritually and morally. As such, he would overall help to further prepare the young and old members for the period where they peacefully make the world aware of the true Islamic teachings based on the need for greater spiritual attainment. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. Jazakallah.
Two girls from there, or?
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. Next will be 2 short speeches on the girls' side from Rabia and Badia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear sister, today I'm going to be talking about the declaration of being promised son. In 1914, Allah Ta'ala gave Prophet Musleh Maud, may Allah be pleased with him, the status of Khalifa. All the characteristics of being Musleh Maud, the promised reformer, were evident within his person. Even then, many members and scholars of Ahmadiyya community believed that he was the promised reformer. However, the attitude of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II on learning the series of prophecies of the promised Messiah Salatu Islam was that he refrained from making any positive claim of those prophecies being fulfilled in his person. In 1944, it was revealed to him in a dream that he was the promised reformer. In a view of the grandeur of the dream, he decided to make a public announcement that he was the promised reformer. On 28 January 1944, he related his dream in detail in a Friday sermon and announced that he was the promised reformer. He prefaced his description of the dream with the observation, "I wish to say something today, which I find it difficult to set forth, having regard of my temperament, but as if some prophethoods and divine decrees are involved in making any exposition, I cannot refrain from making it despite my reluctance." The contents of the speech left him in no doubt that he had to declare his fulfillment of the prophecy to the Jamaat. He again made the announcement in Hoshiarpur on 20 February 1944. In the meeting in Lahore on 12 March 1944, the Khalifatul Masih observed in the course of his speech, "Who can say on his own that a son would surely be bestowed upon him? Who can say that such a son would live and grow up? Who can say that he would become the leader of the community? Who can say that he would become known unto the ends of the earth? Mostly, certainly, no one can say these things on his own." In short, the fresh evidence of the support of God Almighty has proved once more than that this movement has been established by God and enjoys to help and support today. Today, the prophecy made through the promised Messiah 59 years ago, "I shall bestow upon thee a son who will be a son of my mercy and of my power, my grace and my beneficence, and through him the message of Islam and Ahmadiyya will be carried to the end of the earth," has been fulfilled with great glory. Today, hundreds of countries bear witness the name of the Islam reached them during the period of my Khilafat, and it was during the period of my Khilafat that they heard the name of Ahmadiyya. Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Anhu had many outstanding qualities. His achievements have marked him out as a guiding light of the Renaissance of Islam, and will continue to shine as one of the greatest divine bounties bestowed upon the international Ahmadiyya Muslim community by the hand of the God Almighty. Inshallah.
Jazakumullah.
Next is Bariya, you're next.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. The topic of my speech is Waqf Jadid. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II Rahmatullah Alayh had planned to create a network of Maulameen teachers who would be devoted to the upbringing of the members throughout Pakistan. Waqf Jadid was the last initiative Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II put forth before the community. It was started on December 28, 1957. On 1st February 1958, 14 Maulameen were dispatched to selected rural areas of the country. Now, by the grace and mercy of Allah, the number of Maulameen is in thousands. The objectives of Waqf Jadid were to look after the spiritual upbringing of the members living in the rural community and to bring the message of Islam to the Hindu population of the country. The Hindu community in the Sindh province were mistreated by Muslim landowners. Seeing this, the Christians influenced them towards Christianity by helping them financially. Waqf Jadid brought them into Ahmadiyya and continues to do this today. Up to 1986, the project was intended mainly for the rural communities of Pakistan. But Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV, Rahmatullah alayh, broadened this project, and now all the countries of the world are within the scope of this plan. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis says, in this age of rampant materialism and commercialism, when the public, especially in the Western world, is bombarded with enticements to purchase merchandise, the Holy Quran guides us, setting forth the contrast of a bargain of striving in the way of Allah with one's wealth. Those who are well off should consider if the donations they make are real sacrifices.
Assalamualaikum.
Say your name.
My name is Fawzan Ahmad.
Shabbat. And what are you going to share with us today? He wrote a large.
He wrote a large number of books, including the importance of the city Kabir.
Shabash. Good job. Acha, Mishi Ali. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Turn around this way. Apna naam bataएं. My name is.
The name is
Good. Well done.
Misha.
Misha.
Acha, and what are you going to share with us? Apne. He was the
promised son of the promised Messiah.
Shabash. Good job. Acha, have a seat. Athar.
MashaAllah.
खड़े हो शाबाश इधर आए अस्सलाम वालेकुम करें अपना नाम बताएं शाबाश and what are you going to share with us?
He was only 25 years old when he became Khalifa.
शाबाश माशाल्लाह हाजी सारा अस्सलाम वालेकुम
Assalamualaikum.
आपका नाम क्या है?
My name is Sarah Khan.
शाबाश and what are you going to share with us?
The prophecy of his birth was published on green papers. So we would love to wear green on this day.
Jazakallah, shabash. Okay, next there are 3 short speeches on the girls' side in the order of Maha, Hanya, and then Dania. Followed by the group Nazam, Hedasta Qibla Nama.
इसको क्या हुआ सो गया माशाअल्लाह
Respected audience, today I'm talking about the establishment of Rabba. Migration is among the tradition of prophets in the way of Allah, which brings countless blessings of the Allah Almighty. The case of the promised Messiah ﷺ couldn't be different. On the 18th of September 1894, the promised Messiah received the revelation Dage Hijrat, meaning stigma of migration for any reason known only to God. Migration of Ahmadiyya Jamaat didn't happen in the promised Messiah's time, nor in the first Khalifa's era. It happened in Muslim Maud's Khilafat after the partition of the subcontinent declared in 1947. Very serious riots started in Punjab province on both sides of the newly born countries. Hazur decided to leave Qadian, India and migrate to Pakistan. He left Qadian on August 31st, 1947 at 1:15 p.m. and reached Lahore, Pakistan at 4:30 p.m. Lahore was a temporary headquarters. Soon Hazrat Musleh Maud started to look for an isolated place as he saw in a vision in 1941 that Qadian got attacked, and after leaving Qadian, he should look for a new headquarters in some hills. On the 25th of September 1947, after considering some other locations as well, Hazrat Musleh Maud selected a barren land in district Jahang at the recommendation of Chaudhry Aziz Ahmed Bajwa, as this place was in accordance to his vision. He explained later in his inaugural address that, I selected this place according to my dream. The only difference is I saw a land with grass, and this is just a barren of land. After Hazur visited the land, he appointed Nawab Muhammad Din to make arrangements to purchase the land. By October 15th, 1948, 1,000 canals were leased out for over 500 country members, and a meeting held on September 16th, 1948. It was decided that the opening ceremony of the new headquarters will take place on September 20th, 1948. The question, what would be the name of the new headquarters? His Holiness Hazrat Musleh Maud accepted the name Rabba, meaning high place or hill, suggested by Jalal ud-Din Shams. After the inauguration date was decided, 2 groups were sent to Rabba to set up. Before the opening ceremony, along with Grand Marquis, 6 residential camps were settled. On September 20th, Hazur led the Zohar prayers, then laid the foundation stone of the newer markaz, reciting Hazrat Ibrahim's prayers. After the inaugural speech, 4 goats were sacrificed in 4 corners of Rabba, and 1 in the center, symbolizing the sacrifice of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Hazrat Musleh Maud Radhiyallahu anhu once said about Rabba that this city should be a place of remembrance of Allah, to spread Allah's message, to be the city of religious education and knowledge. We all try that our generation keep Rabba a city which is center for their faith and devote their lives to serve Islam and Ahmadiyya. We all are witness that how this blessed city has progressed as a result of the prayers of our beloved Imam Hazrat Musleh Maud. He once said that nobody should worry about the future of Rabba. Rabba will never be destroyed. Allah has blessed Rabba, so it will be dear to him till the last day, and Rabba will always hold the flag of Islam high in the world, inshallah. Rabba rahe Kaaba ki badai ko dua ko, Rabba ko pahunchti rahe Kaaba ki duaएं.
Ameen. रब्बा रहे काबा की बड़ाई
Respected audience, the topic of my speech is election of Hazrat Musleh Maud as Khalifa in Musleh. On March 13, 1914, Khalifa Masih I, Hazrat Nuruddin, passed away shortly after 2 p.m. in Gandhi, India. The following day, Nuruddin's will was read aloud in the mosque after Asr prayers. Having hardly finished the reading of the will, members of the Jamaat present there felt that Mahmud Ahmed, eldest son of the promised Messiah, best met the criteria of a successor. The will had described and began calling for Mahmud Ahmed to accept their bay'ah. Being unprepared, Hazrat Musleh Maud turned to Maulvi Saab Sayyid Sarwar Shah and said, Maulvi Saab, this burden has fallen upon me suddenly and unexpectedly, and I cannot even recall the formula of it. Will you kindly instruct me in it? He took the bay'ah of those present there, repeating the words after Sarwar Shah. After the oath was taken, he offered a silent prayer and made a brief speech. Writing about his election, Khalifa Masih II says, when I was elected, there was only a small number of people who accepted my bay'ah. The majority of the Jamaats and centers held back their misunderstandings, created by people who had differences. But God worked on my behalf and gradually gathered the whole community to my side. Almost right after his election as Khalifa of the promised Messiah, a faction led by Muhammad Ali and strongly opposed the suggestion and refused to accept him as Khalifa Masih. This was due to significant differences they held with him, such as nature of Ghulam Ahmed's prophethood, as the suitability of Mahmud Ahmed to lead the community. They eventually left Qadian and settled in Lahore, and later became known as Ahmadi Lahori Group. Professor Johann Friedman writes in his book on aspects of Ahmadi religion, thought and its medieval background, thought the decisions in the movement, only described in terms of doctrinal differences. A class of personalities also played a role. It is reasonable to assume that Muhammad Ali, who had master's degree, couldn't easily bring him to accept Muhammad Ahmed as Khalifa, who was 15 years his junior and didn't even have secondary education. But besides all these options, the whole world witnessed that Mahmud Ahmed was the greatest leader of present times, and under his leadership, the Jamaat progressed tremendously. May Allah enable us to follow his footsteps, and may the Jamaat always progress. Ameen.
Ameen.
Hazrat Mirza disputed Deen Mahmud and written over 200 books and pamphlets. He displayed the promisability of knowledge of both religions and secular knowledge. His main source of wisdom was the Holy Quran. In 1907, an angel taught him the commentary of Surah Al-Fatiha. Later on, he was gifted with knowledge to do the commentary of the Holy Quran. His love and attachment for the Quran was deep and fading. On Saturdays, he would give birth among women. He would also give birth among women which was attended by school children as well. He had a short commentary of the Holy Quran, which is known as Taqsir-e Sahih, as well as one commentary which has many volumes known as Taqsir-e Kabir. Allah granted him deep spiritual knowledge and understanding of Quran, fulfilling the prophecy that through him the glory of Islam and dignity of Quran would be established. Hazrat Musleh Maud has said that there were hundreds and thousands of truthful realities of the Holy Quran, which Allah had disclosed to him, especially his intuition and revelation. Hazrat Musleh Maud said that I do claim now again that even if thousands of scholars assembled to compete with me in writing commentaries of Quran, yet the world will accept and acknowledge that my commentary is unique and Muslim of divine truth and depth. May Allah enable us all to follow the teachings of Quran as well. Amin.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to be presenting the translation of the poem written by Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu anhu. With my hands raised towards the Qibla, I declare there is none worthy of worship except Allah. The pain the heart suffers is remedied by there is none worthy of worship except Allah. When someone's spell-binding eyes cast their spell, the call emanated from my heart, there is none worthy of worship except Allah. The words whispered into the ears of the dead, the sound that shall rouse doomsday is, there is none worthy of worship except Allah. I was on the verge of collapsing beneath the burden of my sins, but the support that braced me is, there is none worthy of worship except Allah. On the day of judgment, everyone will abandon you. Only one will remain faithful. There is none worthy of worship except Allah. Thousands, in fact, there are 100,000s of spiritual treatment, but the only cure of soul is, there is none worthy of worship except Allah. Just can't.
Yeah, but only for only for the age.
Nope.
Listen to the next one.
Hey, daste qibla numa. Hey, daste qibla numa. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Hey, darde dil ki dawa. Jo ilaha illallah. करीब था कि मैं गिर जाऊं बारे सीना से, करीब था कि मैं गिर जाऊं बारे सीना से, हुआ है लेक असा, हुआ है ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह। बरोज़े हश्र सभी तेरा साथ छोड़ेंगे, बरोज़े हश्र सभी तेरा साथ छोड़ेंगे। करेगा एक वफा, करेगा एक वफा, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह। हजारों बल्कि है लाखों इलाज रूहानी, हजारों बल्कि है लाखों इलाज रूहानी, मगर है रूह शिफा, मगर है रूह शिफा, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह।
जज़ाकुमुल्लाह हसन। अल्लाह के आदो साहब दुआ लेफ्ट। Now we're going to have the last speech by Sayyid Fazl Ahmad Sahab. The Emma Muhammad gave a speech, his memories about Hazrat Musleh Maud, a very short speech. And our program is getting slightly late and the place is tight. Remember, it is only once a year and please be sitting patiently. Anybody want to go to the bathroom, you can go whenever they feel like. And after that, the special program for the children about the life of Musleh Maud coming right after Sayyid Fazl Ahmad Sahab.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Respected Sadr Sahab and all the members who are here, especially the children and Khudam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Who will be the best person to talk about Musleh Maud except those who have been in this company? I came across this writing of our ex-Amir Sahab. Before Dr. Ehsan Zafar Sahab, there was Mirza Muzaffar Ahmad Sahab, who was the Amir. And he, in his last days, wrote an article about his memories, which really we can cherish and inspire upon, and probably we should take the lead. Mirza Muzaffar Ahmad Sahab was the son-in-law of Hazrat Musleh Maud. He is talking that somewhere I'll be quoting what he spoke about, and somewhere it will be reiterated and paraphrased. I have attempted, he says, a brief piece largely of my own personal experience and memory and remembrance of Hazrat Musleh Maud. I am ill and in pain and wrote it lying down in bed. What he says, it was his privilege to witness and experience Hazrat Musleh Maud. I had the good fortune to see what Hazrat Musleh Maud, as a school kid, a college student and a grown-up man. Hazrat Mirza Muzaffar Ahmad Sahab Maroon was in civil service and held portfolios during the initial days, and then after, it spanned over a long time in Pakistan government. This is an addition. He says, Mia Sahib says, my earliest vivid memories goes back to the time when he would go through the house of Hazrat Amma Jan, Promised Messiah's wife, onto Masjid Mubarak to lead prayers. On his return from the mosque, he would spend some time with Hazrat Amma Jan, particularly after Maghrib prayer, for a while and chat with her and others who were present. At other particular times in winter months, he would first go to Baitul Dua, the room for prayer, and do his sunnah. On the short stops, he would pace up and down in the courtyard or the room depending on the weather, and sometimes engage in serious discussion on current Jamaat affairs with my father, that is Mirza Bashir Ahmad Sahab, Mia Sahab's father, and Muhammad Ismail Sahab, who was the father of his sister, Hazrat Amma Jan's brother. His love and attachment for the Holy Quran, there are a few points which I have picked up. His love and attachment for the Holy Quran was deep and abiding. On Saturdays, he would give dars among women, and these scenes were fresh when Mia Sahib was writing this. He would stand in the courtyard of Hazrat Amma Jan's house, and the ladies would sit in the courtyard, in the veranda, or in the closed rooms. And he used also to give daily dars to the men's side on a regular basis of Qadian, and a lot of people used to attend this from outside Qadian too. When Mia Sahib was married to his daughter, we went some days of summer leave in Dharamshala. On his own initiative, he sat down with Musleh Maud, on his own initiative, sat down with Mia Sahib and gave him lessons of the Holy Quran in those days. His reliance on the power of prayer. The other dominating facet of his life was a deep trust and reliance on the power of praise. At every crisis in Jamaat's life, he would retire to Baitul Dua, the special room where he used to say his Nawafil or Sunnah, and literally spend hours in praying for Allah. I witnessed this during the partition days when the India and Pakistan was made. It was a crucial time, and it was really a war situation. And it was a risky job when the people, Ahmadis, were coming, or the other Muslims were coming to Lahore from Qadian. He would come out of Baitul Dua with his eyes red and swollen. There is an incident which talks about the solicitation of Allah. It was enshrined in his memories. And I feel the presence and freshness of that awe. Even today, some 67 years back when Mia Sahib is writing this. I was asleep at the outer courtyard of our home in Qadian on the men's side when I heard heart-rending cries of praise. The initial impact of sudden awakening of Mia Sahib was scary, and when I regained my composure, I found it was Hazrat Musleh Maud engaged in Tahajjud prayer in the upper courtyard. And we can relate this with the prayers of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when his feet get swollen and he had long qiyam and sujood. Infinite love for the Jamaat. He had infinite love for the Jamaat. I clearly remember Mia Sahib saying how he paced up and down in the veranda of Ratan Bagh, Lahore, with a small-sized Quran in his hand. When the caravan of Ahmadis were moving from Lahore to Lahore, he was pacing around and indulging himself in continuous prayer, and with each movement of the caravan, he never used to rest till he learned that they have reached safely. Mia Sahib is saying, it is in my knowledge that all times of crisis of Jamaat, he stopped sleeping in his bed. In all times of crisis, to avoid comfort, and he used to sleep on the floor, praying all the time until God assured him of success and resolution of the crisis. He was a great orator, and Mia Sahib is saying that being in the civil service and holding a high portfolio in the government of Pakistan, he has witnessed a lot of orators, but none like Musleh Maud. He literally could move mountains, and thousands of Jamaat members can be a witness to this. One incident, he recalls that soon after partition, he gave a series of lectures in different cities elaborating what Pakistan needed to do to an Ahmadi friend of mine. No, it was that Musleh Maud was talking that what Pakistan needs to do in reference of defense and other fields. A non-Ahmadi professor of Islamia College was sitting with a friend of Mia Sahib, and he says that most truthfully, he should have been our Prime Minister. And there was one other professor who was talking about that, and he used to boast upon that he was a great scholar of history of Islam. And listening to Musleh Maud, he conceded and said, I don't know anything about the history or Islam itself. His gracious kindness was, he was referring Mia Sahib, I was throughout a recipient of Huzur's gracious kindness in many ways. And he was given a long letter by Musleh Maud before his departure to England for higher studies. And the most specific point which was mentioned there was the study of Quran, which is the real honor. He, because being son-in-law, his daughter, he suggested his daughter, who was married to Mia Sahib, that now Mia Sahib is in civil service and high status around the arena, but you are not. Mia Sahib is, so he has to roam around with the people, but you don't have to if they don't respect you in the way and maintaining parda. And there was a lot of incidences where people, the wives of the bureaucrats or leaders used to call her. This included Hindus, Christians, British people, and she never used to go. And once a financial minister, a commissioner of finance wife, established a special arrangement for her where one-to-one discussion could have happened. And then only she went, and it was for amazement for most of the people, the woman, that how come she has invited you all alone. So that instruction which was given by Musleh Maud is really what we should adhere now. His lighter moments. This was an incident, and this is interesting. In his lighter moments, Huzur would sometimes go hunting and compete against his colleagues and family members in cooking food. And once I remember he competed against a large number of Jamaat members in swimming in a canal, which was just 3 miles from Qadian, from one bridge to another. And the test was, and there are a lot of people who jumped in the water and they want to swim. The rule was nobody will touch the feet should not touch the ground in water. And Musleh Maud was in lead, and he came across, and when he saw back, it was few people only. So he was so indulged in it, and he availed the opportunities. And he was wearing that time homemade long short, which was up to his knee. So that is important also. He was a great administrator and tremendous organizational vision and capabilities. He inculcated many things, we have heard about it. A man of great courage. And this talks about that, Mia Sahib, remember that when there was an attempt on his life, when leading prayers in Rabwa, Mia Sahib went to the DG and asked about the information, and there are a lot of details about it. But what is point to ponder is that when he was checked by Ahmadi doctor about the wound was swelling a lot. And there was an incision which was supposed to be made, and anesthesia was required to tolerate pain. Musleh Maud said that no anesthesia is required, and I'll bear it. And he really bore it. When he stitched the wound, after that, Huzur stood up, which was with remarkable composure and courage. May Allah Ta'ala help us to understand what Huzur went through, and in similar way all our Khulafas and Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. I will just clarify one thing which is of green also. Okay, the green ishtihar. The prophecy was never written on it. Sabz ishtihar, the green announcement. What happened was, the announcement was made and it was in the newspaper which came, Hind, right? Hind. The paper, it was on the 20th of December 1886 when the prophecy was printed by the Jamaat. And it came in the paper, Zamindar or Hind. And it was just normal leaflet. Then it was narrated in the prophecy that there will be a son, he will be bestowed in 9 years' time. The first year, 86, was the prophecy. 87 was the girl bestowed, Hazrat Asmat Bibi Sahiba. And then a son was born in 88, and people were ridiculing him a lot. Then he wrote Haqqani Taqreer Bar Wafat Bashir, Waqia Wafat Bashir. And that was written in green paper. So that is how the green paper came in. The availability would be a question there. But the original was never written. Original prophecy was never written on a green. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah.
I will request Khalifa to continue with the program Deputy for 2018 for Musleh Maud Day, and they just keep it ready. When I think the time is over, I will stop him there and they will add up the number, because we are getting really late, but because they have made the program for that. So please go ahead. Anybody in the meantime want to go to the bathroom, go outside, please do so also.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's get started.
Usman
is going to be the spokesperson on the Atfal side. On the Nasrat side, please select a spokesperson who will hold the mic and will answer on behalf of the girls. And please let us know as soon as you guys are ready.
It would be
All the atfal, please move over here, where the mic is.
The
This
video
one,
is
you can
still
pick up this mic right here.
Yeah, just make sure it's on. Please not out. Can you help
All the
us?
atfal,
I wish I could do that.
Oh my god, no, we're cutting off circulation plan.
Well, no, like just being laid out.
Her part,
Yeah,
not
her
my
part.
part.
Yeah, not your part. I don't want that part. I want this part. Being laid out.
It's too late for this part.
Yeah, I know there's candy sitting here. Everyone who takes part quietly would get a candy from Sadr Sahib at the end. Sit down, everyone. Shabash. That's a deal.
I haven't.
Nasrat, are we all set to go?
I told my friends to pick me up at 3:15.
Okay.
So I had to like dip after Jeopardy.
So last time Jeopardy was started by Nasrat, and there's the score on the screen. Can you see the screen on your side, on the Lajna side?
Yes.
Okay. So Nasrat won last time. So today we will start with the Fal team. And there are a few we call lifelines. We always have lifelines. So the lifeline that's going to be this time, it will be unlimited lifeline. You could use it on every question if you want. There is a restriction, which is suppose if you pick a 500-point question and you use a lifeline, you are not eligible for 500 points. You are only eligible for half the points. If you get it wrong with the lifeline or without the lifeline, you lose full points. Okay, so Atfal, please select your category and point value.
Important dates.
Important dates were 100. Playing it very safe today. Okay, the question is, even if all the people leave you and I'm left alone, I will stand by you and will face all the opposition onslaughts against your mission. Cancel that.
Huh?
I think this...
No,
no. I think I opened up the wrong file. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there are oops sometimes. This being one of them.
Luckily, we found it out in the beginning.
I know, but there's a lot of new questions and we don't want to have last year's questions.
Is it 300? Hello?
520 that much?
Hello?
40 that much? So he that much?
Okay, here we go. Yeah, so... Okay. The question is the same for this year on this. So what is the answer?
No.
Even if all the people leave you and I'm left alone, I will stand by you and will face all the opposition and onslaughts against your mission. How old was Hazrat Musleh Maud when he uttered these words at the death of the promised Messiah?
C.
No, D.
I'll give you 5 more seconds to figure it out. D?
D, yes.
Alright, let's see.
Where it was?
That is correct. Barakallahu lakum.
Good job.
And Usman Sayyid is keeping score for us. Nasrat, please select your category.
Friday sermon 350.
Friday sermon 350?
Yes.
Okay. Question. In the khutbah from 2 days ago, Hazur shared a passage which was recorded in Al-Fazl in 1936. A non-Ahmadi relative of an Ahmadi saw in a dream that he saw Hazrat Musleh Maud riding an animal. And he was told in the dream that Hazrat Musleh Maud is the biggest waliullah, the friend of Allah in the world. What animal was he shown riding? This is there. The choices are horse, camel, lion, or elephant. 15 seconds. And do let us know if you are using the lifeline. We can't see. I have 5 seconds.
Is there a mic on?
Lion, that is correct. Barakallahu lakum.
I like my favorite animal.
Okay. Next, Atfal, please select your category.
Achievement and prophecies 400.
Achievements and prophecies were 400, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Question. Under a scheme set up by Hazrat Musleh Maud Razila Ta'ala Anhu, foreign missionaries are appointed by blank to propagate the truth about Islam. By who? By Tariqa Jadid? Please. Otherwise they will only get half the points. Okay. Tariqa Jadid, Waqf Jadid, Majlis Atfal ul Ahmadiyya, or the missionary committee?
A.
A? Okay. That is correct. Barakallahu lakum. Nasrat, please select your category.
Yeah.
Important dates 250.
Important dates 250. Question. Put the following events in the right date sequence. Establishment of the auxiliaries. There are 5 auxiliaries listed there. I know 2 of them happen to be on the same year, so that won't matter, but please. I don't need the year, I just need you to put them in the right sequence. Chronological sequence.
Lajna Imaila first.
Okay.
And then Qudam al-Ahmadiyya. Then Nasirat. And then Asarullah and Atfal were at the same day.
Okay, so you said Lajna, then Khudam, then Nasirat, and then Atfal and Ansarullah, right? Okay, so yes, Lajna were the first, then the Khudam, then Nasirat, then Atfal and Ansarullah. Barakallahu lakum, that is correct. Atfal, select your category.
Miscellaneous 500.
Miscellaneous for 500. Top points, huh? Question. Name the first major publication started by Hazrat Musleh Maud Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, which was named by the promised Messiah al-Islam himself. This was in that the documentary video you guys were supposed to study on. There were 3 sources we're going to use for this Jeopardy, and that was If you're not sure, ask your fellow Atfal. If you guys aren't sure, quickly ask the audience. You have 15 seconds.
How do you pronounce it? There's these are the yeah, there you go. That's how you say it.
And please don't Google.
Listen to your dada.
Okay, if you have an answer, please say it in the mic. The what? Okay, we will take it as correct.
I can't say it.
Yes, that is correct.
Wait, is that half points or full points?
That's half points. They got help from the audience. Okay, Nasrat, please select your category.
Important dates 500.
Important dates 500. Question. Put the following events in the right sequence. You have the date of the birth of Hazrat Musleh Maud Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, the death of Hazrat Musleh Maud, when he performed Hajj for the first time, declaring to be the Musleh Maud, and becoming member of Sadr Anjuman. It's a 500-point question. It's got to be tough. Some of them are really easy. I mean, the birth, that's where it all started. That's where it all ended. I'm sorry? Okay.
And then
Announcement is
becoming member of
right
Sadr
before the
Okay, so second you said is becoming member of Sadr Anjuman?
No.
What was second?
1889.
Wait, so birth of Muslim World first.
Okay.
Then second is becoming member of Sadr Anjuman.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then
it's
what do you
I think there'd be Hajj.
The third you said is Hajj.
They did
then
they
the
lifeline
every
every time.
Muslim and then the death of Muslim.
Yeah, they got it right.
Did you get help from your audience?
Yeah.
Sounded like they did.
No.
No? Okay. Alright. Barakallahu lakum. That is remarkable. Someone on that side actually watched the documentary and paid attention. Good job.
So should I just give them full?
Yeah, they got full.
I don't believe it, but okay.
No, we will trust them. Fal, please select your category.
Friday sermon 500.
Friday sermon 500. The bravest soul here. Here we go. What was the closing message that Hazur gave at the end of his khutbah? You have 15 seconds, please. Quick. Use your lifeline if you're not sure.
Yeah,
No one knows.
Anyone in the audience, please help him out. What was the closing message Hazur gave? The last thing that he said. I will tell you what he said just before that closing message. He said, we're going to have Muslim Maud Day, Jalsa programs throughout the world wherever Jamaats are established. So when you have these Jalsas, you want to pray to elevate the soul of Hazrat Muslim Maud for all the work that he has done. And then after that, he said something. What was that?
Can they ask you, since you're technically also for no?
No, that won't be fair for you to ask me.
May Allah follow his directions.
Oh, speak up, please. Tell them.
May Allah help us to follow his directions.
May Allah help those who follow his direction.
Okay, that's not bad, but I don't think it's sufficient to get the point. So here's the answer. By listening to the words of this prophecy and how it was fulfilled by Hazrat Musleh Maud, it should rekindle in us the desire to sharpen our skills and work harder towards achieving the victory of Islam and Ahmadiyya. And then Hazur said, we should assess ourselves that whether each Ahmadi is participating in the Jamaat according to his maximum capacities. So we need to self-reflect. That's what Hazur said. Jazakallah. So that's a minus one.
Yep.
Okay, Nasrat, please select your category.
Okay. Miscellaneous 450.
Miscellaneous 450. Question. Why do we only celebrate Muslim Maud's Day for the second Khalifa? And why don't we celebrate the birthdays of all other Khulafa?
How is this a 450?
Try not to use your lifeline on this one.
This is like the easiest question.
Hazur explained this.
It's not we don't celebrate his birthday. We celebrate the prophecy of the fulfillment of the prophecy when he declared that I am the promised son or Muslim. When the prophecy was published. Yeah.
Okay, great, perfect. Alhamdulillah, barakallah lakum. So here's the answer that we have here for all of us. We Ahmadis do not celebrate birthdays of any Khalifa. Second Khalifatul Masih was born in January, not in February. We celebrate the fulfillment of a great sign of Allah in support of Islam and in support of the Holy Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Atfal, select your category.
Fire sermon 450.
Definition 350.
Definition 350. Who is referred to as Fazl Umar? This one you better know. I mean, I've been running this question for a few years now. Come on. C?
Everyone agrees.
Say what C is. Say it.
Hazrat Mirza Rashid ibn Mudam.
Barakallah lakum. That is correct.
I have a question about
Yes.
this. We hear this term Fazli Umar. We know Fazl means a blessing. What is the connection with Umar? What does the Umar come in? Does it have anything to do with Hazrat Umar?
It does.
Because he was the second Khalifa.
He's also
Second Khalifa, Hazrat Umar in collaboration with that.
Achievements of prophecies 300.
Achievements and prophecies for 300.
So stay on point.
True or false? Shh, everyone pay attention, please. True or false? Under the direct supervision of Hazur, the new Hijri Shamsi calendar was adopted in 1940. Each month in the calendar is named after an important person in the history of Islam. 30 seconds on the clock.
No, it's actually true.
Did you get that?
What's on
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
No, false.
False? Yes, you are right. This is false because it's not named after an important person. It's named after important events in the history of Islam.
You got that right.
The early history, yes. They got it right. A false lecture category.
Important dates 350.
Important dates 350. Why are you skipping the 450 one? The Levi Ahmadiyya, the flag of Ahmadiyya, was first hoisted on at this special occasion. What was that occasion? This was covered in that documentary.
Maybe you should watch the documentary.
Yeah, next time watch the documentary.
Where does everyone gather?
Pretty simple.
If you're not sure, ask the audience, because if you give me the wrong answer, you lose full points.
So if I get the right answer, I get half. But if I get
Yeah,
just say
you get half the
say
points.
if I use a
you lose
lifeline and get it wrong, do I lose half the
No.
points? You lose full points.
If the answer is wrong, you lose full points, regardless whether you use lifeline or not. No, you can't put half the blame on them.
Don't use a lifeline. Don't use a lifeline. Just go.
Jalsa.
Jalsa? Okay, but what Jalsa? When? I mean, Jalsa happened last year too in Harrisburg. What Jalsa? The first Jalsa? The second Jalsa? Which Jalsa we're talking about? It was a special Jalsa. It was a Jalsa, but it was a special Jalsa. And until you tell me that, it's not correct. I'll give you 5 more seconds.
25th anniversary. The 25th anniversary.
First Jalsa.
2 seconds.
First Jalsa.
The what? 25th Jalsa? No, it wasn't the 25th Jalsa. It was the 25th Silver Jubilee of Khalifa Musleh II. Khilafat. Meaning Hazrat Musleh Maud's Khilafat had passed 25 years. So the 25th Khilafat Jubilee of Hazrat Musleh Maud at the Jalsa Salana of 1939 in Qadian. Nasrat, please select your category quickly.
They got that wrong.
Friday sermon 450.
Friday sermon 450. Question. In 1914, a pastor, by the way, this is from Hazur's khutbah too, he mentioned this. In 1914, a pastor came with some sophisticated and tough questions, which he wanted to ask the newly elected Khalifa. Hazrat Musleh Maud astonished the pastor with extremely intelligent and satisfying answers, to a point that the pastor held him in profound respect. He even kissed the hands of Hazrat Musleh Maud before taking leave. Where did this pastor come from? Was he from London, from Canada, America, Africa? Let's make it 10 seconds.
We have the answer. America?
America. Barakallahu lakum. That is correct. Atfal, quickly, your category.
Definition 300.
Definition 300.
Definition 300. Question. The words of the prophecy, he will convert 3 into 4. What does it mean?
Come on.
Did you heard that wording today when the prophecy was read out? 10 seconds. Then if you know, tell them. Don't tell me.
One son of the promised
Yeah,
Messiah.
this question was
One
been repeated second time.
did not accept the promised Messiah, but he accepted the promised Messiah.
Okay, sorry, you ran out of time.
So you just add 1, right?
Alright, yeah, you're doing the math.
Can we say
The prophecy was fulfilled in a number of ways, including when the eldest son of Hazrat Masih Maud al-Islam, Hazrat Mirza Sultan Ahmad, also pledged allegiance and joined Jamaat Ahmadiyya, and he joined at the hands of Hazrat Musleh Maud. And then it was also fulfilled in regards to Rabwa. So Nasrat, please select your category quickly.
Friday sermon 400?
Friday sermons 400. Question. In the khutbah from 2 days ago, Hazur narrated that an elder of Jamaat, Matiur Rahman Bengali Sahib, who has also served as missionary in the USA, wrote to Hazrat Musleh Maud that I saw in a vision over 20 years ago that it was the occasion of Eid, and blank was delivering the speech, the Eid khutbah. After the speech ended, I moved forward to pay my respects, but saw it was you, meaning Hazrat Musleh Maud instead. When he mentioned this dream to a friend, he said that God has informed you that Hazrat Musleh Maud has indeed fulfilled this part of the prophecy, that wo husn ehsan mein tera nazir hoga, that he will resemble you in splendor and benevolence. Who was it that was giving that speech in that dream? Hazur mentioned this in khutbah. 5 seconds.
Hazrat Masih Maud.
Barakallahu lakum. That is correct.
Should we have a candy now?
No, it's all for them, so the Sam will give you the candy.
Miscellaneous 250.
Miscellaneous 250. Question. On March 10th, 1954, Hazur had a narrow escape. He was leading the blank prayer service in the Mubarak Mosque in Rabba when a misguided opponent attacked him from behind with a dagger. This is a repeat question. You should know the answer to this. It was also covered in that documentary. Listen to Sadr Sahib. He has some advice for you.
Can we answer the question if we get it wrong?
I think I would think about that next time, but we're on short on time. C. Asr. Barakallahu lakum. That's correct.
Good job, guys.
Okay, Nasrat, quickly, select your category.
Sabotage the
Achievements and prophecies 250.
Achievements and prophecies 250. True or false? Hazrat Musleh Maud started Anjuman Ansarullah for male members of the Jamaat over the age of 40. 5 seconds, quickly. True. I'm sorry, you got this one wrong. Yeah, so here's the correct statement. In 1911, during the period of Khalifatul Masih first, Hazrat Musleh Maud started Anjuman Ansarullah. That is not the same as what your fathers are part of, Majlis Ansarullah. Majlis Ansarullah was started in 1940, not
so they got it wrong, 250.
In 1911. And this was in the documentary. Yes,
Definition 200.
Definition 200.
We're right there, we can catch up.
Al-Fazl is the name given by Hazrat Musleh Maud to what? You should know this one. It was in the documentary, plus this is a repeat question from before.
Newspapers.
C. A Jamaat newspaper, Barakallahu lakum. That's correct.
I saw it.
Yeah, नहीं कहते Barakallah कहते. अच्छा. Well, Nasrat, quickly.
Important dates 200.
Important dates 200. No one's touching that 300 one.
Wrong one.
The prophecy. Huh? I clicked on the wrong one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, you can take this one. The prophecy. Okay, good. Barakallahu. You got the same amount of points. That's fine. Oh, there's a bonus question on this one. All right. So here's the bonus question. Allah told Hazrat Musleh Maud to declare to the world that he is the fulfillment of the prophecy of Musleh Maud that was given to the promised Messiah. What city was he in when Allah informed him to declare this? Don't tell me where he declared it, but tell me where did Allah tell him about it. 5 seconds.
Lodiana?
No.
Lodiana, I'm sorry, that is not correct. You don't lose points. No, not losing points. This is a bonus one. The correct was Lahore. Okay, we're almost at the end now. Quickly, Asfal, select your category.
Important dates 200.
Important dates 200. When did the era of Hazrat Musleh Maud's Khilafat start and end? You have the 4 choices right there.
March 14, 1940, November 7.
Yes.
I think as you guys were preparing for your speeches, you would have come across a lot of this material also. Quickly, 5 seconds. A?
He said something.
He said A?
Yeah.
That is correct. Barakallahu lakum. Nasrat, quickly.
Miscellaneous 200.
Miscellaneous 200. In the announcement on blank, the promised Messiah al-Islam announced the revelation and the prophecy concerning Musleh Maud. What date? C? Barakallahu lakum. That's correct. Alhamdulillah, they've been studying. Okay, talk quickly.
Friday sermon 300.
Actually, hold on 1 second. Let me just see where you guys are at.
Oh, you don't want to know.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, alright, but what did you say?
Friday sermon 300.
Friday sermon 300. Yeah, I guess we're going the whole go all the way. In the khutbah from 2 days ago, Hazur related
that a famous non-Ahmadi Muslim leader, Maulvi Zafar Khan Sahib, wrote, and this he wrote in his newspaper.
Zafar Ali Khan Sahib.
Okay, Zafar Ali Khan Sahib. Quote, listen attentively. He's talking to his people. Listen attentively that you and your people can never compete with Mirza Mahmud. Mirza Mahmud has the blank and the knowledge of blank. What are your people have? What do your people have? You have not even read the blank in your dreams. Quran, Barakallah. You got this 300-point question.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
I said, Nasrat, quickly.
We're winning.
150 definition.
150 definition. Question, what does Musleh Maud mean? 5 seconds.
The
A.
A, the promised reformer?
Yes.
Barakallah lakum, that's correct. Fal? Miscellaneous 150. Hazrat Musleh Maud Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu was born in 1889, the same year that the promised Messiah al-Islam started this Jamaat. Which came first in that year? Starting of the Jamaat or the birth of Hazrat Musleh Maud?
Birth. Was born.
You sure? Okay. Barakallah lakum. That is correct. Yes. His birth came first and then the first bath taking place just 2 months after. Okay, Nasrat, select your last question.
Achievements and prophecies to 100.
Question, how many qualities were prophesied about Hazrat Musleh Maud? Easy question.
A52.
A52, Barakallah lakum. That's correct. Now this last question would not go to Atfal because they already, that's where we started from. So, who was Musleh Maud? You all should know this one. Anyone say the answer?
D.
I'm hearing a lot of C's and some D's here. It's making me afraid.
We have C.
C, okay. Alright, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu. Jazakallah, that concludes this. And here's the score. The score of Fal 925, Nasrat 3100.
Oh my goodness.
Congratulations. Barakallah.
Okay, we are at our end of our program, so please just give me 5 minutes, very quietly. First we're going to have the prize distribution, and I request all the Itfal and Nasra to line up close to the Sadr Lajna, and I request our dear elder Hussain Abdul Aziz Sahab to come and distribute these prizes for Itfal and young Khudam.
Okay, all of you guys stand up, Shabash. Stand up and line up this way. Line up behind Usman, you stand right here. Everyone line up behind him. Shabash. Line up. So many
This is mine.
Okay, and when you take it, say Jazakallah and take it with your right hand.
I want to get 3.
That doesn't matter. He's dead. It's like, it's just so annoying because it's like, it was fun giving this. Him was fun and me was fun. Like, both were a different Jamon thing.
There's 2 inside and back.
Yes.
No. Don't worry. Your sister is getting one too on the other side. Don't worry.
Hopefully we can start in March before him. Or else I have to leave.
Say Jazakallah.
I told my friend to pick me up from my house.
Good job.
That's to be home by 3:15. I did not expect it to go like sit down super late. Well, we have something that starts at 4 and then it's picking up.
The white. Barakallahu lakum. Any young Khudam, they can also come if they're here. Barakallahu lakum. Anybody else? Come on.
Can I have one too?
Come on, the young ones.
Well, one on behalf of my brother.
Yeah. Barakallahu lakum.
Good. I'll grab it.
Yeah.
Grab me one.
Young Padam. Yeah, you can sit.
You're young enough.
Sit down, guys.
Parents who help their children prepare. Don't need parents who help their children.
Plus, Ansar needs sugar.
This guy's okay.
Oh yeah, no, you're not put down.
I don't know about you, man. You didn't give me no candy. How you doing?
All my candies are for you.
You know the kid?
You like this one?
Sometime, man.
No. You know why I like it? And so I'm going to share his one with
You got it on, don't you? No?
you get one?
All right, just give me 4 minutes.
Okay, sit down, everybody now. Okay, give it to.
Assalamu alaikum. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. MashaAllah, we had a great program. It was an extended program which we mostly have closer to an hour, but this time we decided that we'll go for 2.5 hours because it is once opportunity in a year. So we do and try our best that our children also involved, the elders, all of us is a part of this grand prophecy. Brought to my attention about one of the word of the prophecy about Fazl-e Umar. Fazl-e Umar was also a name given to him with a specific meaning. As Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu was martyred, Hazrat Musleh was not martyred, and he specifically said that I will not be killed, I will live a normal life. No doubt, they attacked him in 1953, and he had his whole life, and he died a natural death in 1965. So that is my understanding of Fazl-e Umar. We are all congested over here. Fazl Sahib told me we have close to, mashallah, 200 members which are attending this Jalsa today. And I know they have a short of room on the ladies' side and to some extent in the men's side. Please make the special prayer that Allah Almighty give us the new place. Amen. So we can be easily accommodate. We don't have to manage too many things in this regard. How many members listened to the last Friday sermon? How many members of the Jamaat? You don't have to raise a hand if you haven't heard it. In the same way, it's so important for us to listen to Hazur Khutbah. I have been reminding Jamaat, I am giving a summary on every Friday. Whether I understand Hazur Khutbah or not, my duty is to convey the message to the Jamaat member to the best of my ability. But it is the responsibility of all Jamaat members to listen to the Hazur Khutbah in its entirety in English or Urdu. We have so many opportunities now which we never had before. We have the cell phone, we have the TV, we have Ruku, we have Jadu. It comes on the MTA 3 times almost in the weekend. So no member of the Jamaat, young and old, should think that he is not supposed to listen to Hazur Khutbah. It is the responsibility of the parents. It is the responsibility of the parents to make sure that your children will spend at least 1 hour to listen to that khutbah when you know they understand what it is all about. This is the guidance we have through the Khalifa. And whatever he tells us, we should try to do the utmost to follow his direction. And with this message about the Muslim out, this is the Khilafat which is continuing. And secondly, we should always ready to make special prayer. As a Muslim Maud, as you have heard in the message, the Muslim Maud was offering prayers. He has done the prayer for the Jamaat. He has done the prayer on special incidents. And we can read it. We have the opportunity now to go to YouTube, get all the information. We don't need these speeches anymore. These were the ones at that time when we didn't have the access. Over here we get together and we make a special prayer for the victory of Islam. Hazrat Muslim Maud, Hazrat Muslim Maud, Radiyallahu anhu, his last word, which I remember when I was a child. And with that, I will finish in the end of this program. He said, तुम फैल जाओ मशरक़ में, तुम फैल जाओ मग़रिब में, तुम फैल जाओ शुमाल में और फैल जाओ जनूब में, जहाँ के दुनिया के कोने कोने से ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह मुहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह के बारे में लगे. He said you go into the east, into the west, into the south and to the north, convey the message. And the day when I hear La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah all over the globe, that was the day he was waiting till his last breath. May Allah Ta'ala help us that we should convey that message wherever we are and whatever capacity we are. We should not stop it. It is not the duty of few of the Ahmadis to do the tabligh. It is the responsibility of all of us. Khalifa Masih has been reminding us, and we think that it is the duty of the tabligh department. It is the duty of the Amla. It is the duty of each and every member of the Jamaat, whether it is a male or female. And we will be asked that we join the movement and we say we will obey you, Khalifa Masih, whatever you tell us. Whatever we can do, least we can do is making special prayers. If we cannot get out of our house or our door, we should make special prayer for the victory of Islam and get indulged in the lead. Very soon we'll have the mosque. We have to change the history of this city. I remember in 1989, our dear late President Mir Ahmad Sahib, he said, I want to see the city of Philadelphia to be the first one where we have close to 100,000 Ahmadis. That was his desire. And we should try our best with the new mosque and get ourselves involved. We cannot sit back anymore, because if we are going to be lazy in this matter, Allah will give us other people to come in Messiah who will convey His message. And we will be just sitting behind and not doing our job. May Allah Almighty give us the wisdom, strength to do it. Now I will finish this program with a dua, and after that the azan will be called, and right after that our new Ahmadi, he is going to sign the back. Ameen, Allahumma ameen. I request Amin Nurji sir to come here. First we will call the azan, and in the meantime anybody want to make the ablution, they should go now. And the Qudam can help us.